Hello, how you doing, everybody? Our show is Spiritual Exploration. I'm Christine Schiavone. I'm sitting here with a guest who I have known for many years. He's been a guest on my show before. And not pretty recently too.
Yes.
But over the years, we've done a lot of shows, and then we used to do a show called Second Sight. We co-hosted, and it was that was good. Anyway, though, but he is a psychic medium, and he does you do different rituals and things, right?
Of course I do. I mean, I teach psychic development class, so I teach psychic development. I teach classes on spells and stuff like that. There are always rituals that you do before you do stuff like that, so absolutely.
Yeah. So then I imagine though. I mean, I would say if anybody asked me, I would say, oh, Chris George, he works on the light side.
Absolutely.
He,
Absolutely. I don't cross the line. There are enough people out there that, have no problem crossing the line and compromising who they are to help somebody. It's really not to help
help
somebody.
somebody or to make money.
That's my point. It's to make money, and you just see it so much. So when I teach my classes, there's a fine line between white magic, what's considered to be white magic, and black magic. Okay, there's a fine line, and the line is in the wording. All right, a lot of people don't realize that. Depending on how you word something, it could go from white magic to black magic that quickly
During the same.
during the same thing. Because I'll give you a for instance. So say somebody comes to me and they want a love spell. All right, very common. I have at least, I don't know, 50, 60, maybe 70 different love spells I do.
I know, figure there were that many.
No, there's a lot of different variations and
Depending on what they want.
right. So the thing is, if somebody says, I'll give you a for instance. So a woman comes up to me and she says, I want, John to love me. I won't do it. Black magic, the difference is when you do the spell, you say, okay, this spell is to make John love so-and-so. That's crossing the line. That's taking free will away
Can't
from
make somebody, that's right.
Well, yes, exactly. And you're taking their free will away. So the way you make it white magic is you say, this spell is for, let's say her name is Lorraine. This spell is for Lorraine to attract the person who's going to love her the way she deserves to be loved.
Right.
You word it in a way where you're not taking free will away from somebody.
Right.
That's the difference between making it white and darker.
I see what you mean.
I would never cross the line. So if somebody says, no, I really want Johnny to come to me, yeah, sorry, I'm not.
Go find somebody that'll do that.
Go find somebody who'll compromise himself. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I will say, for the person who's going to adore you, the one who's going to love you, the one who's going to cherish you and be your perfect type of partner, I'll do that. But I'm not going to put a name to it.
Right.
That crosses the line.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, well, like you said, God gave us all free will, and in a way it's good, and in a way it's not good. In some instances, because some people use that free will for bad things.
Of course, like when I do a reading on somebody, and I say, I how do I want to put this? Maybe I'll tell somebody, this person, somebody's cheating on somebody, and I'll say, you know what? You have free will. You could stay with this person, but I'm telling you, if you do, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, whatever the case may be, you'll be getting another reading from me telling me, the person is still cheating on me. When all those months ago I told you, you know what, he's going to continue to cheat on you, but you have free will. You could stay if you want. That's on you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that this is going to happen again. All right? So I'll never tell somebody, you have to do this, because I won't take free will away from anybody, not even in a reading.
Right.
And that's
Sure.
that's the difference between, like I said, crossing the line and not.
Well, in a reading, all you can do is make suggestions. Even that?
Well, when I make suggestions, well, then that's insinuating that somebody isn't truly psychic. I mean, I get my stuff from the other side, so I'm going to say what truly comes to me from the other side. I guess you could say it's a suggestion, but maybe a strong suggestion because everything I get is from the other side. I don't put my opinion into something. I don't put my, what I would do into something.
You just repeat what you get.
Even if what I get, I feel is like, oh my God, that's ridiculous to say. I'm not going to compromise what spirit is telling me to suit what I feel. Because then I'm not really being psychic. I'm being judgmental on what's coming in and then what's going out. And you can't do that.
No.
A real psychic wouldn't do that.
Right.
So, but there's a lot of them out there that will. There's a lot of psychics out there that'll tell people exactly what they want to hear every single time and be wrong every single time. But you know what? The people will continue to go back to that fake psychic because they're hearing what they want to hear, even though the person is wrong. There are a lot of people I find they would rather be soothed, and made to feel good about what they want to feel good about as opposed to hearing the truth.
Everybody wants to hear certain things.
But I understand that. I understand that completely. I understand people want to hear what they want to hear, but then don't come to me. I'm not going to tell you. I tell people all the time, don't ask me a question you don't want the answer to.
Sometimes the truth is hard to take.
Right, I cannot promise you it's going to come to me.
Yeah.
But if it does, I'm going to tell you. So, and if that upsets you, listen, I understand it, but I'm not here to make anybody feel good. I'm here to be honest. And in being honest, hopefully they get some kind of closure out of it. But I'm always going to be honest, whether they like it or not.
Well, that's the way you have to be. If
that's
you're
why people come to me.
legitimate, if you're on the up and up, that's the way you have to be. And I know you always were.
Yes. I read a woman the other day, and I read her, I want to say 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, something like that. And I told her something about a family member that was going to happen in February. Okay, so she got another reading with me in February, and she said, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't want to believe what you said. I went to 4 other psychics.
Whoa.
And they told me the exact opposite of what you said.
Wow.
I said, okay, so why are you calling me then if they all said the opposite of what I said? She said, because you were right. You were the only one who had the balls to tell me the truth and be honest with me, and everything you said is coming to fruition right now. I said, well, that's the difference, because I'm being honest with you. I'm never going to tell you what you want to hear if it's not what's coming to me honestly, truthfully. I'm always going to be honest, and that's how you have to be. Some people don't like it, but it is what it is.
Well, like I was saying, sometimes the truth hurts.
Sometimes the truth hurts. I always tell people, I might not be a cup of tea, but I'm a whiskey man, so I think I'll get over it, and hopefully you will too. And then, when you realize what I've said is true, then you'll come back to me, and we'll take it from there.
Right.
But there is a fine line between right and wrong. And as a psychic, if any psychic puts their own opinion on what's truly coming to them psychically, they're crossing the line, and they're not being truthful to the person.
Nobody really wants that.
And they're not being respectful to the spirit that's giving them the information.
Right. Nobody really wants that, though. I would think that you'd want the truth before anything else.
You'd be surprised, Christine. There's so many people that would rather hear what they want to hear as opposed to what's truly coming through.
Well, we all want to hear what we want to hear.
True.
And we all hope that what we want to hear is what we're going to hear.
Yes, I agree. That's why as a psychic, I try not to read my friends and my family.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the truth hurts, and you don't want to hurt friends. You don't want to hurt family. So, my friends know they're going to ask me a question when they have nobody else to turn to, when they want the absolute truth, and I'm going to be honest with them. It's not something I love to do, though.
Yeah.
But you have to.
Well, you have to, and then you feel better about yourself when you speak the truth.
I feel better about myself, yes, but, and there is a but, there are times when I wish, and this is going to sound counterproductive to me being a psychic medium, there are times I wish I was wrong. Because there are times I'll tell people something that just, I know is going to really hurt them and isn't going to feel good. It doesn't feel good coming out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh man, I really wish I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, then guess what? I'm not a very good psychic. And then, people come to me because I'm right.
How do you hear spirit? Do you actually hear it in your ear?
So many different ways. Sometimes I actually hear the voice. Okay.
Right.
Sometimes I just feel it. Sometimes I just know it. Sometimes I get a vision. Like last night, I was driving home and I had a vision of my son, getting into a car accident.
Oh no.
Yes. So I immediately called. He didn't answer. I'm like, oh God. I called my.
How old is he now?
He's 19. He's just driving. Just got his first real car. So I called my daughter, and I'm like, listen, I just had a vision. You got to get in touch with your brother. I can't get in touch with him. She goes, well, he's at work. She says, I'm going to call mom. So she calls his mother, and his mother told him, when you're done with work, come straight home, because he was planning on going out and whatever. Guess what? My kids listen to me because they know I would never say something to scare the hell out of somebody. Got in his car, he drove home, he was fine. But I really had that vision that,
if he had gone out
maybe
and was
something,
traveling
maybe it would have been just a
around,
minor accident, but who knows?
who knows is right.
So I gave the message. And you
Well,
have
thank
to.
God it all worked out.
It did, but I was nervous. I was nervous all night until I got the message that he was home and safe.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
Tell me something. I have a Christian friend who says that there's a difference between a psychic and a seer and a prophet.
Well, okay, I'm not going to get into the whole prophet thing. That's more religious. But a seer is more of a medium. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like another way to say medium. A psychic, every. Okay, well, I'm not going to use the word seer because it's really not very relevant in today's world. It would be medium, but every medium is a psychic. Most psychics are not mediums. Okay, a medium is getting their messages from the other side. They're talking to the dead. They're feeling it. They're getting the visions from the other side.
Particular dead or just
It depends.
whatever
Like,
spirit?
I'm what's known as a trance medium. You've seen. Listen.
I've seen you
I did on your
trance
show.
channel.
On your show many years ago, we had it was a show for Halloween, and we did a live seance on your show. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's
Come
coming
on, how
back.
could you not remember? That was the night that I channeled the spirit of somebody that had been shot and killed, and his parents were in the audience.
Oh, no.
Okay, you know who they are, and
Oh yes.
right, and
now
and
both of them are gone now. Too,
I know, I know.
They're both gone.
I'm very good friends with the daughter-in-law. So, and they were in the. I didn't know who they were. I had no idea who they were in the. First time I ever met them was after the show.
And
I had
you were
channeled their
channeling-
son on your show,
Right.
And then after that, then I said, you know what? Maybe I should do my own show. And then we did the show together, Second Sight.
For a few years.
Right. So I'm what's known as a trance channel. A trance channel is somebody where the spirit actually comes in and occupies my body, and I actually become the spirit.
I've seen you do that.
The interesting thing about that is, now you've known me for many years. I'm a cigar smoker. Okay, as a cigar smoker, most cigar smokers do not inhale. I cannot inhale. I'm 56 years old. I inhaled one time a cigarette when I was 19 years old. That was the last time I ever smoked a cigarette. I couldn't do it. I was coughing. I felt like I got high. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
So I cannot inhale. That's my point. I've done seances where I have not only smoked cigarettes, but inhaled and blew smoke rings. I don't know how to blow a smoke ring. So as a trance medium, I actually become the spirit. And that's how I made my name for myself so many years ago. I was doing seances in my basement in Brooklyn.
I remember because I was there for some
came.
of them.
Yes.
I remember one time I was sitting there. Marilyn was sitting on my
Oh,
left.
good old Marilyn.
And here's the corner, and here's you sitting there, and all of a sudden the spirit's inside you talking to me.
Right.
And told me that this is my 138th lifetime.
That's a lot of lifetimes.
I think it's a lot because he said that a lot of people have even more.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, but that's a lot. I would say that's a lot.
Okay. It was my 138th. So Marilyn chimes in with, yes, and everything has happened to you over those lifetimes, including being murdered. And the spirit that was talking out of you turned around and said, she's never been murdered. Everybody always liked her.
Well, I can see that. You're pretty likable.
Thanks. Anyway, though, but it was funny because she says, she's never been murdered.
Well, Marilyn is an interesting woman. She's
a doll.
She's very, very kind and one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever been around. I actually consider her one of my mentors,
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't spoken to her in quite some time, but I would have conversations with her for like literally 2 hours. And she would touch on maybe, I don't know, 10 different subjects. 8 of them had no meaning to me, and I would be kind just to listen. But then there'd be one or two things that she would talk about that would really resonate with me, and I took it as my own. So that's why I say she's one of my mentors, because
she's
I've learned
great.
a lot from her.
She's great. Yeah,
Not
I
psychically,
used
but
to have her on
other
my show a
things.
lot doing feng shui.
Feng shui, numerology. She's
Yes.
very good with feng shui and numerology.
Yes.
I actually used to do space clearings with her for businesses in Manhattan when they had like negative energy in the house, or they were failing. They weren't making money. We would go in and do space clearings for them, which I do now without her because I haven't seen her in years.
Well, I've done
But
space clearings for people who couldn't sell their houses,
Well, I
and
used
their
to do that for
houses
Papa
got
Realty.
sold like that.
yeah, there's a famous psychic named Joyce Keller. All right, one of the most famous psychics in the world, and she had a place on the west side by Ground Zero, a beautiful, beautiful double apartment in this amazing building overlooking the water and whatnot. And she wanted to sell it. She couldn't sell it. And she was trying to sell it for a year. And listen, it was Ground Zero. There was spirits everywhere in there. So one day she invited me and a bunch of people over to her house, and we were doing some psychic stuff together. And to be honest with you, I always found to be my most psychic when I was around her. All right, there was something about her. We just kind of meshed and clicked, okay? And she said to me, she said, "Chris, do you think you could do a space clearing for me?" I said, "Of course I could." So went back, I went a few days later, and I did a whole space clearing in there. Not only did she sell the house, but she got $200,000 over what she was asking for it. There was a bidding war on it after we did the space clearing.
Wow.
Yeah, and she had been trying to sell it for about a year.
Wow.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And she sold it for $200,000 more than what she was
Yeah, I've
trying to
had
get.
people who was trying to sell their house for like a year, and I would go in and do a space clearing, take the.
People don't realize how important that is.
Oh, yeah, it gets rid of the negative energy that might be causing the place not to get sold.
Right. There are things known as energetic imprints. What is that? Say somebody comes to your house who's very negative, very miserable.
And they leave that
And they
energy
leave that
behind.
energy there. That's an energetic imprint that is left behind. You gotta get rid of that.
Get rid of it, yeah.
Because what happens is, if you get enough of that in your home, it just lays stagnant, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a brick on top of a brick.
And then you start getting depressed.
And then you start getting depressed. So what you'll find is, when you're out and about and outdoors, you're having a great time. You feel great. You're happy. Then you walk in your house. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ, and you feel miserable.
Yeah, you
There's
feel
a
like
reason.
there's a
Those
cloud
energetic
over you.
imprints, you got to get rid of it, and that's why you do a space clearing.
Yes.
And it's important to do that.
Yes.
I do a lot of them. It's important to do.
Well, I use the smudge sticks.
Smudge stick is good. You're talking about sage.
Sage, sage, and what is it?
Palo Santo?
Some kind of green grass.
Oh, sweetgrass.
Sweetgrass.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So sweetgrass is good. Palo Santo is good. Sage is better than them. There's there's church incense, which is good. Frankincense is good.
Yeah.
All that stuff is good. You want to know what's the best? And I've talked about this on your show before.
Yeah.
Orange peel. Take a peeler, like when you peel like a cucumber.
Yeah.
Peel your orange with that, okay? Where it's just the outer layer of the orange. Put it in your laundry room. If you don't have a laundry room, put it on your windowsill. In a few days, it'll dry out, and it'll get dried out and hard. Use it the same way you would use your sage.
Burn.
You light it, and you do the same thing. You go around your house. You say anything negative, I ask you to leave in the most positive of ways. You call on Archangel Michael to protect you and your home.
Only positive energy is allowed.
You always call on Archangel Raphael to send healing and love to your home and to yourself. And orange peel is by far the best. And anybody who does feng shui will tell you this. I tell people, they're like, "Oh, come on, orange peel." I tell them, "Are you open to energy?" "Yes, I am." "Okay. Go in one room with sage and sage your room. Go in another room with orange peel and then do that. Wait 10, 15, 20 minutes and then go in each room. You tell me which one feels clearer." Every single person is going to tell you the orange peel, because it just is. Listen, I've done spirit removals of negative spirits and stuff like that.
Yes.
I use orange peel. If I use orange peel for that, why wouldn't you use it to do a regular little clearing of some?
And
some
what could it
space?
hurt anyway?
It can't hurt. It's cheaper, and much cheaper, and it's better. So why not? Listen, sage and all that stuff cleanses on this level, which is good enough for a space clearing. But orange peel cleanses on this level and the next. So why wouldn't you want to use it if it's better?
Okay.
Try it. I promise you. You'll try. You'll be like, wow, Chris, you're right about that.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good. Um, when we've been talking mostly now about doing a lot of things on the light side.
Yes.
Give me your opinion of what people do on the dark side.
Well, like I said, say somebody wants a job.
Yeah.
They'll put their name to a specific job. That's crossing the line because you might be taking that job away from somebody who deserves it more than you. So the difference between white and dark is say I want the job that is going to best suit me, that's going to serve my purposes properly. You can't say I want this specific job because that would be crossing the line. Same thing with a love spell. If somebody does a love spell and they say I want Christine to fall in love with me,
Yeah.
that's black magic.
Yeah.
Everything can be sweet
But it
and
wouldn't
loving.
work, right?
Well, of course it can work. It
Because
depends
of
No,
free will.
It can work. It
Yeah.
absolutely can work.
Really?
Okay. Depending on how do I want to put this? Okay. So there are a lot of people that do spells. I can have, I don't know, 15 people in my spell class, right? I know 10 of them have no shot at making the spell work. None whatsoever. Okay? Not because they can't do it, but because they're not focused. They're not doing things the way I'm telling them to do, and they're just kind of like all over the place. Then there'll be 4 or 5 people or 3 people, whatever, in my class that I say, if they really focus and concentrate and do exactly what I say, they can manifest this, okay? Just because somebody's doing a spell doesn't mean that it's going to work. I have people call me all the time, somebody did a spell on me. I'm like, okay, big deal. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter because the person who did the spell on you doesn't know what the hell they're doing. So you could do 50 spells on you, it's going to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
But then you get that one person who knows what they're doing, it could be relevant. So you got to be careful. A lot of people think people are doing spells on them, and they might be. But again, so what? Most people don't know what the hell they're doing anyway.
So, which means that it really doesn't work.
It doesn't work, exactly. And that's why people will come to me to do the spells for them because
They know what you're doing, and you know me make it work.
And I'm going to do it the right way. Like I said, I won't cross the line. I mean, listen, if I was going to cross the line, it would be, honestly, it would be for like my own family to protect them. But it's never going to get to that. So
Yeah, no.
It's not something.
Well,
I'm comfortable doing.
You can protect them while using the white side anyway.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
So, crossing the line isn't worth it. It's a mark on your soul. You do something negative to somebody on a magical realm, it literally is a mark on your soul. That's why
It comes back to you.
There's a lot of these witches out there, men and women, who will cross the line, and I know some. I know some, and
we both
you know
know
what?
some.
Yeah, we both know some, and the truth is, and I don't know if they want to acknowledge it. I think if people acknowledge something, it becomes real to them. So they don't acknowledge it, but when they finally do pass, they're gonna have to atone for that, whether they believe it or not. They're gonna have to atone for
we have
the
to
negative
pay
stuff
for
that they've done.
everything we do.
No doubt.
It all is called karma.
Karma. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, it is called karma.
Yeah. I mean, everything that we do, good, bad, or indifferent, comes back to us. Whatever you put out comes back.
That's what they say.
You know, even if it's just a feeling or a bad word or something, it'll come back.
Yeah, and the people that are doing the dark magic, they justify it by saying they're helping people. But a lot of the folks that do the darker stuff, they always add something in the spell to where you got to come back to them. Okay? That makes it even darker magic because now you're taking free will away from the person you're doing the spell for. Because now they'll be like, oh my God, I got to go back to this person. And they do.
I have to go back
and
and see what's next and blah, blah, blah.
That's taking free will away from one person, and now the person who's actually asking you to do the spell, you're taking free will away from them because now they feel like they got to keep coming back to you and coming back to you and coming back to you. So it's like a double whammy with the black magic.
Well, sure, because then they're kind of hooked.
That's right. Don't cross the line. It's just not worth it.
No, it's not.
You'll pay for it at some point.
That's right. You'll pay for it with your time that you might be spending in heaven. You'll be in hell.
And the thing is, it might not affect you, but it might affect a loved one. It might not affect you personally, but who knows if it could affect somebody.
A
that
loved
you love.
one can get sick or something.
Absolutely. because that energy, it's like a boomerang. It goes out and then it comes back, and it goes out and it comes back. It's like when I do a healing on somebody, the healing energy comes out my right hand, through them, through their body, back into my left hand. Okay, it circulates. So every time I do a healing on somebody, I'm doing a healing on myself as well.
Well, same thing with Reiki.
Same exact thing, right? So it comes back to you. It constantly comes back to you. So you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
And it might not hit you, but it might hit your child or your wife or your husband or your
Whatever,
whoever, your
somebody
friend,
that you care about.
Right. You gotta be careful. It always comes back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what you do comes back to you. Always.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something good that you're doing, then the good will come back.
Well, you hope so.
I believe that. I believe that if you're doing good, you get good, and if you're doing bad, you're going to get bad.
Well, that's what it seems like anyway.
I think that's what we understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
The bottom line is, don't take free will away from anybody.
No, you can't.
Don't do it.
You can't. Yeah, it's not good. It's not, and it does bounce back on you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you might even find out that by taking the free will away from somebody, that person could end up being a thorn in your side.
Well, that's a fact, and it's funny you say that because I've seen that happen to some people who do cross the line. They get somebody who gets they want to get vengeful now against them because for whatever reason, and it comes back. That's the bottom line. Don't cross the line.
That's right.
It's not hard to differentiate between white and dark. It's just not. It's just wording. It's your intent. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty simple, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, well, we've talked quite a bit about the side of light and the side of darkness. Let's go on to a little bit of a different subject. You have written a book.
Oh, well, I'm in the process of writing it. I've been writing it for years, but I'm now going to start focusing on finishing it. It's basically, it's called Through My Eyes. It's about things that I see that other people don't, and my perspective of it, and
What kinds of things that you see that other people don't? You see ghosts?
oh yeah, like spirits. Like I'll give you a for instance. So one day I was driving to work. Okay, I used to have a vending business in Manhattan, and the kid that worked for me, his name was Reggie. He was sitting right next to me, and in between we had like a space where somebody else could sit, but nobody was there. So I'm driving down like 6th Avenue, I think it was, or 7th Avenue, whichever one is going up, I forget. And we see that there's an ambulance and a car, and there's red all over the windshields. So Reggie was like, "Oh my God, you think somebody died?" No sooner did he say that, bam, there was a girl sitting right next to me.
Oh boy,
Right, and I
like a young girl.
unlucky. So we were on the side, and I pull over, and I'm like, "Reggie, go inside and get me a bacon, egg, and cheese, and get yourself one too." I give him some money. He runs in. The girl's sitting right next to me. I said, "Was that you in the
Ambulance.
in the car?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" She goes, I don't know where to go." I said, "You got to go to your family." I said, "Because once they find out that you're gone, they're gonna need you." I said, "They're gonna want you to be around them. They're gonna want to feel your energy around you. You can't stay here with me." And she says, "But you could see me." I says, "Yeah, I could see you, but I'm not the one you need to be with."
Did Reggie see her?
Reggie didn't see anything.
Uh-huh.
So, bam, like that, she was gone.
You don't know where she went.
I know she went to a family, but I didn't see her go to a family. But I told her, "This is not the place for you. You got to go be with your family," and she did. So stuff like that. Like another one was one of my favorite stories is I had vendors working for me in Manhattan, and we were like on 47th Street and 5th Avenue, and a bunch of women came, and they were nice looking women, like I would say from 20 to maybe 50.
Okay.
And there was a young girl there, about 13 years old, and so they come looking at our stuff, and my worker said, "Oh, just so you know, he's psychic." I'm like, "Oh man, why did he tell him that?"
Yeah.
So they kind of like laugh about it, and then they're being rude, right? And I asked them where they were from, and she was like, Why do you care where we're from? Like, really nasty. I'm thinking to myself, wow, these people are so nasty. They got these southern accents and they're nasty. Little girl, about 13 years old, said, she goes, we're from North Carolina, and I'm sorry about my family. They're rude. I says,
She said,
okay.
wow,
As
smart
she's
kid.
saying this, her family is walking away.
Yeah.
She's saying behind me, she goes, are you really psychic? I said, well, some people seem to think I am. You know, this was many years ago. I'm going to say about 20 years ago. And I said, your father passed? She said, yeah. I said, well, he's here with you, and he's telling me that he's so proud of you. And, you know, I said a couple other things. I don't remember exactly what I said. It's all written down in my book. I just can't remember right now. And I said, basically, that he's really proud of you. She goes, you could say that to anybody. I said, you're right. And I felt horrible in that moment. I'm like, she's right. I could say that to anybody. Oh, yeah, your father misses you, and he's proud of you. And I felt like crap. All right?
Oh.
So the girl starts walking away, and then I heard it. I said, wait. I said, your father said, love you, Lolly. And he went like this. Like this. And she went, oh, she goes, you really are talking to him. And she runs back to me. She gives me a big hug. She said, he told me that every day when I went to school.
Oh, love you,
So,
Lolly.
Love you. Her name must have been Lolly or whatever. He used to call her Lolly. And so stuff like that. My book has stories like that. Obviously, in the book, it's more elaborate. I tell all the details. But things like that have happened. And that's what my book is about.
Sometime down the road, when it's published, we'll have to tell everybody.
Yeah, it's time for me to buckle down and finish
Do
it.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
I have so many stories. I have stories about. I have happy ending stories. I have sad ending stories. I have stories about spirit removals, or how people would consider them to be exorcisms. I have stories about that. There's just so many.
They're all in the book?
Everything is going to be in the book.
Wow.
The stories in my book are going to probably be from my first, I would say, 10 years of being me, of being psychic medium Chris George.
When did you discover that?
I was 9 years old.
Wow.
I was 9 years old, and I was in my bedroom, and I used to have, back in the day, I'm guessing you would remember this as well. Remember the stereos? They were like almost like a desk.
Oh, yeah.
And the top would open up like
Oh,
this.
yes, I
Like
remember.
it had a record player in
Of course
there.
I remember.
Okay.
I'm old
So-
enough to remember.
Right. So I was in my bedroom, and I remember my cousin Louisa had a Meatloaf "Bat Out of Hell" record in my record player. I don't know
I
why
love
she had it in my
Meatloaf.
record, but she did.
Yeah.
Anyway, I see the thing go up, and I see like it looked like kind of like an amoeba coming out of my stereo, kind of like hovered. "Bat Out of Hell" started playing on my radio, on my record player, and this shape went into my closet and disappeared. And that is when it started. And then what
Now
happened?
you were
after-
9 years old.
I was
at
9
the
years
time.
old. So I'm seeing this every day, every night. My youngest sister, I don't know that she was born yet. If she was very, very young. But my other brother and sister, they were terrified. Okay,
They
were-
saw it too.
No, they didn't see it. I was the only one that saw it. But I was a normal kid. I wasn't like a crazy kid that is gonna make up stuff. Like that.
Yeah.
You know, so they were sleeping in my parents' bed every night because they were scared, and I get it. And then what happened was I started dreaming of a girl named Heather, okay, every night. And the next night, my dream would start where the last one ended.
Wow.
It was like a story.
Wow.
And then one day at this point, I want to say I'm about 13 years old. All right?
So it's going
And-
on for all these years?
all these years. And what the funny thing is, people tell me stories that I don't remember. I don't remember sharing this with certain friends, but then they tell me stories about things that I had said when I was like 10 and 11 and 12 years old that I don't have no recollection of.
Wow.
I don't remember it. But I was about 13 years old, and then Heather actually showed herself to me. And she was with me for so many years. I was in the Air Force, and I was about to marry a woman who was like 7 years older than me. She had a 5-year-old daughter, and the truth be told, my family just didn't like her, okay? And there was a good reason for it. I mean, I didn't see it at the time. I was young. I was 19 years old, So as a 19-year-old, you don't want to listen to anybody, but they were right. And I remember she lived about 160 miles away from me. I lived in Clovis. She lived in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And I lived in Clovis, New Mexico. And I lived in the dormitories at this time, and I had a picture of her, what is it, an 8 by 12, whatever, 10 by 12, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
On my wall, it was a cinder block wall. There was a concrete nail like this, and her picture hanging like this, where the nail came out that far, okay?
From the picture.
From the picture. That picture was on my wall for 3 years, okay? We're supposed to get married in I don't know, 4 or 5 months from that point, and I'm laying in bed, and I say to myself, everybody dislikes her. Nobody wants me to marry her. And I said, Heather, I don't know why I called Heather, but I did. I said, Heather, give me a sign if I'm not supposed to marry this girl. And 30 seconds later, that picture fell off the wall.
Whoa.
You would think that would be enough to
Let you know.
let me know. I said, no, that could be a coincidence. I'm thinking to myself, but it's been up there for 3 years. It's never fallen. I'm asking for a sign, and it fell. I'm like, yeah, it's got to be a coincidence. I put it back up. That thing fell, I want to say 4 times, maybe 5 times off the wall.
Wow.
And I'm watching it, saying to myself, okay, there's no way it's going to, and you see go whoop, and then bam. So, long story short, I did not marry this girl.
I know that.
Yeah, you know that. So, yeah, I mean, things like that. And that's what's going to be in my book, stuff like that.
Oh, boy. So what happened? We just broke off the engagement and...
Well, it wasn't so easy. I did, listen, we lived 160 miles from each other. I would go there on the weekends, she would come to me on the weekends. So I actually called her up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was 19 years old. I was a kid. And I actually told her over the phone that I can't marry her.
Wow, okay.
Which was horrible.
Well,
now, as a 56-year-old, I know it was horrible.
At least you told her.
Yeah. So, and, years later, we had reconnected on social media, and, we were friendly. I haven't spoken to her in 30 years or whatever, but, maybe 25 years or whatever it is. But, she forgave me.
Well, that's good. She probably found somebody else, I imagine.
I have no idea. I don't keep up with it, but, things like that. I always say my life is based on a true story in very big font. You can't miss it.
That's funny. That's funny. So, any other stories you want to?
I mean, give me a topic. I'll probably have a story for it.
All right. Well, let's try to concentrate on. First of all, I'll give you a topic. I sometimes, on occasion, with my show, I have explained to people how to protect themselves from the negative spirits and how to let in the positive. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so I teach this in my psychic development class every month.
Okay.
All right, and it's going to sound very simple, and it is, but it's effective. Okay. What I tell my students is, everyone talks about the white light. White light is fine. It's just strong. It's a powerful energy.
And when we die, we go through the tunnel as white light.
It is, but, and there's a but, a stronger light is the golden light. The golden light is the light of Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael together. Okay, so it's much more powerful. So I always use the golden light. I do not use the white light.
Well, I've been using the golden light too since you told me.
Okay, well,
because I was using white light.
Because it's effective. Now, listen, I had a radio show.
And surrounding it with purple light.
Well, purple is always good as well. Purple is very healing and also very protective. It's also the color of Archangel Michael. So all good. You're gonna envision the golden light coming through your crown chakra, which is right here, okay, and going through your body. And you're going to visualize it running through your whole insides. So you want to visualize your whole insides being gold.
Golden light.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then what you're going to do is once you visualize your whole body on the inside being gold, you're going to take that and you're going to push it outside your body like an aura. Okay, like about 12 inches outside of you. So you're going to be gold on the inside, and then you're going to have like a gold egg around you, all right, of energy. And then what you're going to do, and this is very important, you're going to envision little square mirrors pointing outward all around this bubble of gold, okay? And you're going to say, and you can say whatever you want, but do it something like this. Say, anybody sending me any negative energy, any negative thoughts, any bad wishes, anything evil that's near me. I want you to see your ugly face and go back to the sender in the most positive of ways. Now, a lot of
In other
people
words, you can send it back.
you could send, but you always send it back in a positive. And people say, well, why would you send something back positively? And it's very simple. Why would Spirit want to help you if you're going to be just as evil or as mean or as nasty as the person sending it to you? So you send it back with love. Say, yeah, just be happy. Just don't bother me. And that's all you have to do. And my students do it every day of their lives. I have some of my older students that do it once in the morning, once at night. You know, they feel like they need it more, and that's okay. So, I do spirit removals, exorcisms, and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
This is what I do.
Right.
All right, I do this every day of my life, every single day, and here I am after 103 spirit removals. Do I seem to be okay to you? Pretty much, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So if it works for me, guess what? It'll work for you. Just you gotta believe it, and you have to be very focused when you do it. That's it.
Well, I have neighbors that I don't care for. They're not nice people. They try to steal my property, all that kind of stuff. So and they have it in for me and my tenants, the two boys that live upstairs. And during the summer, we sit out in the yard at the table. We have a little hamburger or something. And one day I said to the boys, I said, look, with the neighbors that we have around here, I said, we got to do some protecting ourselves. So we're sitting at the table, and I'm telling them what to do. Put this light around you and put a bubble around you and do this. As soon as we were done protecting ourselves, the radio was on, which when you're doing something like that, you really don't hear the radio. It's just like not even in the background.
Right.
But all of a sudden, as soon as we were done, the moment we were done, the song came on the radio. It's a song about, it's a song praising God.
Okay.
Okay. Morning has broken.
Okay.
Like the first morning. I said, oh my God. I said, we just protected ourselves and that song came on. I said, that means something.
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
There are signs in everything.
Well, I belong to the YMCA Glee Club, and that's going to be my solo when we do a show on
nice.
March 23rd. Why don't you come
nice.
to the show? Bring.
It depends. I know I have a couple things in March. Actually, I got quite a few things in March. I'm going to a concert with my daughter.
Oh, that's nice.
In the 20s. I don't know the date. I can't remember.
Right.
But if I could come, maybe I could come.
Oh, it's a Sunday. It's the 23rd.
Okay.
It's nice, Bring Dawn with you too if you want.
Dawn comes everywhere with me.
That's good. That's good. Anyway, so and so I really felt that was kind of a sign from heaven that we were protecting ourselves with good reason.
Well, I like that you acknowledge it because signs they don't come so easily, and it takes a lot of energy for any type of spirit, any spirit, to give a sign. So anytime you think you're getting a sign from somebody, acknowledge it. And the truth is, the spirit that's sending the message, they really don't care if you know who is sending it. They just care that you get it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, say your father is sending you a sign, but you think it's your mother. Your father, the spirit of your dad, is not going to care that you thought it was your mom.
Right.
He's just going to care that you got the sign.
Right.
So just acknowledge the signs. Anytime you get something you feel is a sign, say, I got it, thank you, I appreciate it, because it takes so much effort for them to do it.
Well, I get signs all the time with license plates.
Okay.
And
a lot of people do.
All kinds, people's birthdays. When I see a person's birthday on a license plate or a clock, every time on the clock can be somebody's birthday, and I always acknowledge the person.
That's smart.
Whose birthday is. I say,
Well, that's probably why Spirit enjoys being around you.
Oh, yeah.
Because you acknowledge them.
Well, I had one spirit guide, and then another one showed up.
Okay.
And I knew it was another one because I said, is this my spirit guide? And I said, no, this is another one, And so I got two of them now. They connected. They didn't know each other before. They connected and have become best buddies.
Well, that's what happens. I have like 12 or 13 spirit guides that I
and you
interact
know
with.
each one.
I know each one, and you know how I met them all, honestly?
No, yeah.
Through seances. A lot of them were spirit guides to other people, and then I channel them, and they've actually, through me, asked their person that they're spirit guide to, do you mind if I stay with Chris as well? And my main spirit guide, well, I call him. He's really not my main spirit guide, but to me, he is Edward Pace. And you've met Edward Pace before. The Southern spirit that I channel. He was somebody else's spirit guide, and he's become my number one guide on the other side. And I met him like maybe, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago, and he's been.
Could that be the one that you were channeling the night that I was sitting there with Marilyn?
I'm sure I channeled him when you were there. Back in the day when I would do my seances, he came to every seance.
He seemed to like me.
He's an amazing spirit. He's a Southerner, and it's funny because when I channel him, I talk like I'm from the South, and listen, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I don't like watching myself channel. Hate it, But I've seen myself channel. I'm like, my God, that just isn't me. And
How have you seen somebody taking a picture?
It freaks me out. Like people have videotaped me, and then I watch the videotape, and I'm like, and it freaks me out to actually see myself channeling
and talking like somebody else,
right? Or smoking a cigarette that I don't even know how to smoke a cigarette.
I'm surprised you don't get hooked.
No, never.
Because it's not a physical thing when it comes to that.
It's just crazy. The whole trance channeling thing it's a specialty. There are mediums out there, quite a few, but most of them are not trance channels. Most of them are just hearing things and getting feelings,
repeating
stuff like that. Repeating what they hear. Where that's what I do as well, but I'm also a trance channel, so I will actually become the spirit.
I know, I've seen you trance channel.
I've spoken Yiddish, I've spoken German.
And you don't even know those languages.
I even spoke African one time.
Wow.
And they wrote down what I said, and they looked it up, and I don't remember what the hell it meant, but
there was something.
I've actually spoken different languages, which, when knowing that I don't know how to do that, and then to see myself do it, it's
well, it has to be another spirit that does speak the language inside of you.
Exactly.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Wow. I was watching a show the other day about Thomas Jefferson. I like the history stuff.
Okay.
And he had 6 children with a slave girl, and her name was Sally. Sally, I forget the last name. Anyway, though, but they said it so many times, and I had a friend, God rest her soul, I think she died about 3 years ago. She had cancer. I didn't even know that she died till the day of her waking, and it was too late for me to even go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I had this dream. All of a sudden, Sally's in my dream.
Really?
And she looked beautiful. And I've never seen her wear red lipstick, but she was wearing red lipstick and looked so pretty. And that I wanted to take pictures with her. I'm taking pictures with her.
Okay.
I can't get it out of my mind because I had never, ever in my life. We went to high school together, this girl and I.
That's sad.
It was sad. We were very close friends, and then she was gone. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that you can other people's spirits do come into your dreams.
Absolutely, and in my case, they don't leave, but that's okay because, like I said, I have like 12 or 13 spirit guides that I do interact with, and when I do seances, they'll pop in and whatnot, and I can't imagine my life without them. They're like my spirit.
And
crew.
you know which ones that have names?
Every one of them have names. I'll name some of them for you right now. There's Edward Pace. He was a Southerner. There's Angelo, who is my main spirit guide. He's from Italy. There's Tim T, who was a Native American, a Sioux Indian. He died actually buffalo hunting. There's Janet, who was a 92-year-old woman who died in Florida. There's Troy, who was like a 30-something-year-old guy who was a longshoreman from Boston. There's Abdullah, who was an African witch doctor.
Now, how did you find out all these people and their names and everything?
Through channeling them. And the crazy thing is, a couple of them we actually found online.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
We found Edward Pace. He died in the late 1800s. Okay, we found him online. We found Troy online, and we found Janet online.
Wow. And how do you look them up? I mean,
she gave us. They gave me
told you where to go.
Yes. And then the one other one who I have to bring up is Dr. Raj. He's an Indian, West Indian healer. And through seance, a lot of times he'll come through me, and when people take pictures of me, I look like I'm like goldish, a goldish color. I actually have a picture. I wish I would have shown it to you. I could show it to you later, where I'm like this, channeling, and he's right here staring right at me.
Wow.
You see his whole figure just looking.
Wow.
I have the picture on my phone.
Now I
I'll
have the
show it
two
to you.
spirit guides that I have, but I call them spirit guide number 1, spirit guide number 2.
That's
'cause
fine.
They said they had names,
That's
but I
fine.
said we're not going to go through the whole alphabet to figure out what your names
Well,
are.
listen, that's why I actually do a spirit guide class, which I'm going to be doing like next month. I think next month I'm
Well, let me
doing it.
know. I'd like to come.
It's a phenomenal class, and it's where you figure out who your spirit guide is.
Yeah.
I do like a channeled meditation where you start to get visions, and you'll find out who your spirit guide is, man or woman, a name.
Well,
You
they
might-
say they
a
have
spirit-
no
spirit-
gender.
Well, yes, no, that's
They were
not true.
just made to be
That-
spirits.
That's not true. That's completely false.
Really?
Yes, you
Why
might
would
find
they
out
tell me
who.
that?
I have no idea. Maybe they're lying to you. I don't know. Maybe your spirit guides aren't as good as you might think they are. So
Well, they write about most things, but some things they haven't been right about.
spirit guides are people that have lived before.
They say they've never lived.
That's not true.
They're just spirit guides. God
That's
made
not
them
true.
just to be spirit guides.
That's not true. My dad is one of my spirit guides. He's not my main spirit guide. Our loved ones are never on main spirit guide, but they do help guide us. You're gonna, who could say that your loved one isn't there helping you along in life?
Oh, I'm sure my loved
So-
ones are hanging out
Right,
while the
so
spirit
they-
guides are talking to me.
Not, listen, spirit guides have lived before,
Yeah.
and I will
I'm going to
stake
have
my
to have a
reputation
talk
on
with
that.
these two.
Yeah, I will stake my reputation on that. And as a psychic, all you have is your reputation. If your
Well, I
reputation
would
stinks,
to get more into it
know.
about these spirit guides sometime.
well, it's a great class, and you might even find out who your spirit animal is, what your spirit animal is. You know, it's
Never thought about a
it's
spirit animal.
Oh yeah, I love it. Spirit animals are phenomenal.
Must be a dog for me. Those are my favorite animals. But
I don't know if I
although I love
concentrated
all
on it, I would
animals.
figure it out. But I don't. I'm not there to figure it out for you. You're there to figure it out for yourselves, and I walk you through the whole process.
Ah.
And it's a phenomenal class.
All
So,
right, good. I'd like
yeah.
to see it. Okay. That'll be good. That'll be good. Is there anything else you can tell us about good versus evil?
I mean, I think we pretty much touched on it. Everything is subjective. It just depends on how you word things and where your intent is. If your intent is negative, it's dark. If your intent is positive, it's white. It's literally as simple as that.
Well,
People don't realize
most of
it.
the time, more often than not, I would say, if not all the time, when I'm doing something, it's on the light side, on the white side, on the side of goodness.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, listen, people aren't stupid. There's a lot of evil in the world.
There's
Look at all the negativity
finding
in the
out more
world,
and
you know?
more.
And it's the I feel like the negative outweighs the positive, and that's why people who are positive have to work so hard at it, because there's so much more negative out there, you know?
Yeah, there certainly
There's a lot of
is.
sadness, there's a lot of, stuff like that. So you have to compensate that with the good. And it's just not as easy. It's
A
not
lot
as
of
easy
people
as it's
doing
done.
bad, and the bottom line is very often money.
Oh, well, money, of course. Look what's going on in the world. People don't have money, so what are they doing? They're robbing, they're stealing. You go to a shop right now and everything is behind glass, and you gotta press a button for them to come give you underarm deodorant. I mean, because people are robbing because times are tough. They're gonna get better, but times are tough.
Yeah, yeah.
And people are sad, and people are scared, and they can't put food on their tables, and that's why I say there's a lot more negative in the world than positive. A lot of people don't want to hear it. It's the truth, and that's why the people need to stay positive, and they got to put the good out there, because you got to outweigh the evil somehow, and it's by putting the good out.
That's true, because good always trumps evil.
You hope so.
Well, I believe that
I
good
believe
always
it.
comes
I believe
through.
it. At some point it does, but again, it takes people like you, like me, like a lot of the people I'm sure listening right now that are looking forward to better days and better times, and you want to manifest, put it out there.
They should be. They should be looking
Manifesting
forward.
is a big thing.
Yes, yeah. Well, about manifesting, mostly what you can do is just keep repeating out loud what it is you're trying to accomplish.
That's right. Keep putting it out there.
Keep putting it out there, and eventually it'll come around. So, yeah, so that's that. So, You plan on doing a show down the line?
Yes,
You're going to become a producer?
yes, I'm gonna start a show here on Staten Island Cable again.
It's not Saturday on cable anymore.
What's it, well,
Spectrum
oh, Spectrum. I'm gonna be doing a show. Yes, it's
and
Vision Quest
Media TV.
Media. Okay, well, I plan on doing a show soon. I was doing a podcast in Long Island with my girlfriend Dawn, called Vision Quest, and I think we're ready to bring it here. It's an awesome show, and it'll be psychic and paranormal and metaphysical and stuff like that.
All right, let me know. I'll come and
With
help
a little
you.
comedy added in. Dawn's very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's not as funny as me, although she thinks she is. But no, she is very funny, and we work so well together. We bounce off each other, so it's going to be a good show.
That's
And it'll be
great.
called Vision Quest.
Good luck to both of you with
Thank
that. And in the meantime, our time is up, and we're going to have to close now. But I thank everyone for watching. I'm sure that you got a lot of good information from Chris George. And everybody have a good night and take care.